On everyone. So many of us are waiting around for the actual series that has been talked about for years now, was in purgatory for a very long time, was expected to come out, then got put on hold, and that is Camp Crystal Lake, which is supposed to be a series centered around Jason Voorhees and, the whole Friday the 13th franchise. Now, look, I'm excited for this. I've wanted this to come out. I've been a big, advocate of, just seeing these iconic horror franchises be converted into series. Because I just think you can do so much more in a series, right? Like, you look at a film, you got to kind of compact everything into like a 2 hour, hour and 45 minute type of thing. Where I like the idea of a series because it's like an 8 hour to 10 hour thing where you can really kind of flush out characters, storyline, right? You can take your time. You don't have to kind of rush things. How many times do we watch these films and, they kind of gloss over something, or, it's something is just like, man, I wish that was more talked about, or they went in depth in that area more. So I do really like, and I'm excited for this because, you look at like the Chucky series. If you have success with this Friday the 13th series, then now you could potentially see that wave of iconic horror franchises turned into series, right? There's been talks for years about bringing back a Scream series. Love to see that. But Camp Crystal Lake, we're waiting around for what are they going to do, and we got some new news and an update in regard to a new frontrunner. So we got a new showrunner, and Brad Caleb Kane is set as the new showrunner for Peacock's Friday the 13th prequel series from A24. So for those that are wondering who Brad Kane is, Brad Caleb Kane, he is a actor, singer, producer, director, right? Dabbles in a little bit of everything. He has a ton of like film credits, a lot of like voice acting, things like Starship Troopers, Extinction, things along those lines, various, handful of like TV shows and series and stuff. But overall, he's a guy that, has really kind of stepped into that producer, screenwriter role. Now, as far as the Crystal Lake goes, originally, the original frontrunner was going to be Brian Fuller, who was part of, Discovery, Hannibal, but he confirmed his exit back in May, that A24 has elected to go a different way with the material, and then, we've been waiting around, right? We've been kind of waiting for any type of updates. This was announced back in 2022. October 2022 was when Camp Crystal Lake, or Crystal Lake, was being announced. And so it was kind of like, this excitement, and you fast forward essentially 2 years, and it's like they still haven't gotten their act together. And it's like, at what point do we start really kind of flush stuff out if this is really going to be a thing? But now it looks like, okay, they finally have a path, they finally have a direction, they finally have an idea in which they want to kind of go with this Crystal Lake, and hopefully they can get this out sooner rather than later, because you don't want to get it out to the point where, people are sick of it, people are over it. It's like, like, you want to kind of capitalize on the excitement, in my opinion, right? Rather than, it becomes a thing where it's like, oh yeah, that was great 5 years ago. And so, and especially because you have all these others, like you have Welcome to Derry that's supposed to be coming out. And again, the Chucky series and its success. Like, you want to kind of stick within this timeline, so to speak. But we still have no actual set release date or anything. So hopefully they kind of get things in order and start expediting this process, because I want it sooner rather than later. But as far as the series itself goes, I just give me a good story, right? We all kind of know the backstory and the idea, right? But we'll see it kind of fleshed out. We'll see it kind of put together, right? Like, I'm worried that this kind of becomes so chaotic that it fails before it even has a chance to succeed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm worried that we end up eventually getting this, and it's like either so rushed because it's like, oh, we're so far behind. Like, as much as I want this out ASAP, I also want them to make sure that it's done correctly, right? You kind of have one shot at this. And, you can destroy something before it begins. And even when it does begin, it could just be a big flop. So it's kind of like, it's finding that proper balance. But at the end of the day, for me, it's just like, look, people love Jason Voorhees. People love Friday the 13th franchise, right? It's on the Mount Rushmore of horror franchises. And so, it's okay, right? We've seen a lot of these Friday the 13th films, and they're a little silly, a little crazy, a little carried away and stuff, right? To me, it's just like, keep it simple. We want to do the background prequel, kind of explain how Jason became Jason, right? Got to add some and sprinkle some kills in there. It's why a lot of people think that it'll kind of be like, jumping back and forth through time, present day, and then, through the past or whatever, right? Maybe it's from like Mrs. Voorhees' perspective or something, right? I think that there's a lot of cool, fun, creative ways which you can approach and go about this series. But I also don't want you to get too crazy and carried away, right? A24 has done a very good job in the horror space. It's really paved a way and made its name rather quickly, for studios and whatnot. And you got them, you got Peacock, right? Okay, now you got, Brad Kane, who's coming in, who's gonna now hopefully steer the ship in a proper and right direction. And hopefully it's not something where he's steering it off a cliff, right? Hopefully he's leading us to the promised land here. But, we'll see how this all kind of plays out. I just want a good series that's engaging, right? Take your time, really properly flush stuff out. You don't need to get crazy or carried away or anything, right? Keep things within perspective, right? And just trust the process, so to speak, right? Brad Kane, again, producer. He has some producer credits. Like things that he's done is like Tokyo Vice, Warrior, Moonhaven, Lodge, Black Sails, Fringe, Crash, Gravity, right? So he has some real notable just series and shows and things that he's kind of, put his name on and been attached to. He was the singing voice of Aladdin, I believe. So again, this is a guy that has been in the industry for a very long time. This is a guy that understands kind of the ins and outs and what it takes. And, as somebody that's been kind of moved into the producer and director role and stuff, that's done some, kind of bizarre style series and things, I do have a lot of excitement and optimism for this. I'm hoping it's not short-lived. I'm hoping that we don't keep hearing these like, oh, well, once again, it's been postponed, blah, 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 right? I want to hear the, like, hey, here we go. We got our clear direction. We already got our story fleshed out. We got everything we need. We got our showrunner. Let's get in business, right? Time to make stuff happen. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? You excited for this Camp Crystal Lake Crystal Lake? Do you have your concerns? What do you think of Brad coming on as the new showrunner? Familiar with Brad? Are you familiar with his work and kind of things that he's done? Also, like, what do you want to see from Crystal Lake? Is there specific path, direction, kind of idea or story that you want to see? Do you think that this ever even comes out? Right? I mean, seriously, like, I know that they're trying, which is good, but it's just, are you still excited? Are you still pumped, or has expectations kind of calmed down? Because that's kind of where I'm at personally. Like, I was very excited when it first got announced. I was like, yes, let's go, let's get it. And then now it's just kind of, doo-dooed the bed, right? It's disappointing, right? Because this is something that I think has potential to be great. This is something that I think could really kind of pave a way in a lot of ways for other horror franchises to kind of jump on the bandwagon, right? If this and Welcome to Derry and all that stuff does well, this could be good for the future of the horror space. But Again, I already feel whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.